Alright guys, Peter Day here, and I just want to get this tutorial out to you on when to start scaling up. A lot of you guys have campaigns, and let me just dive into this. So, a rule of thumb is you want to see at least a 30% ROI before scaling up. So if you have a campaign and it's been doing less than 30% ROI, it's not time to scale up, because generally what's going to happen when you scale up campaigns is that things tend to get a little bit more sloppy. I mean, it's not all the time that it gets sloppy, but from my experience, when you're spending a lot of money on Facebook ads or any platform, a lot of times you have to just pay a little bit more of a premium to get that high of traffic. So you can try to keep the margins and costs as consistent as you can, but I would almost expect when you scale up for things to get a little bit sloppy. So the rule of thumb is you have to see at least a 30% profit ROI before scaling up. Because if you're not seeing that and your margins are too thin, the only thing scaling up is most likely going to do is just ruin it more. So if you're at a 10% margin or a 15% margin and you go and scale up a ton, you might go into the break even or negative. So if you understand what I'm saying, you understand and see why you need this 30% return before even considering scaling up. Now, when you scale to high volume, it's likely that your ROI will reduce, as I said there. You need your ad going to at least 1 million people or more on Facebook if you really want to scale up. So this is a rule of thumb. And you have to get consistent profit on a low volume. So if you're getting sometimes the 30% ROI, and then other days it's -10, and then other days it's like 5% or 10% ROI, it's not enough profit. It's not enough profitability. So what you need to do is you need to be working on your campaigns at a lower volume. But then as soon as you are averaging at minimum the 30% ROI, you need to really hit the pedal to the metal and scale up your campaigns as big as you can. And think about scaling as your, it's kind of like your premium gas for your campaigns. And for me, I kind of think of cash as gasoline in a sense for your business. Cash is kind of gas for your business, and if you pour a lot of cash into a campaign, you can make a lot of money simply because of the volume. But in order to do this, you need this 30% ROI at minimum, at very, very minimum. The higher you can get it, it's going to make your life easier. I just want to give some illustrations. So we have a campaign that we've been running on Facebook, and it started small, but we started to scale it up. And at first, it was making a lot of money at a lower scale, okay? But then what happened was we went to scale it up really big, and things just got a little bit sloppier. I mean, it's honestly a little bit challenging to actually spend, like 10,000 or 20, 25,000. This campaign we've been spending about $25,000 a day on Facebook, and it's kind of challenging to spend that much and not have things get a little bit higher in terms of price or a little bit sloppy in terms of price, because you're just spending so much money on your Facebook account. If you're spending that much on Facebook, you're probably utilizing even multiple accounts. Maybe you have a Facebook rep and they've even given you like 2 or 3 ad accounts to run on, and there's a lot of high level skills like that we teach in our different courses and trainings and masterminds. But if you're spending that much money, it's definitely kind of challenging to keep the cost as tight as when you were just spending a little bit of money. But it's kind of relative as well. So let's just use lower numbers. So let's say that you have a campaign that you've been spending $100 a day on, and it's actually pretty profitable. If you want to go spend like $1,000 a day on that campaign, or even $500 a day on that same campaign, just jacking it up that much, you might not be able to keep it as profitable and as tight as it was at spending $100 a day. But obviously, if you're spending only $100 a day you're not going to make much money. I mean, what are you going to do? Spend $100 a day and earn like $180 back? I mean, $80 a day is probably not going to really cut it on a campaign. So in order to make a lot of money, you need to spend a lot of money on your campaigns. And we go into a lot of different training and different methods on how to actually do that. I mean, we're not financial advisors, and by no means do we tell people what they should be doing, but there's a lot of different ways to get financing for your campaign. So when Tyler and I started in our business, we didn't have much money. I actually got my first $2,500 loan from my mom to start my business 7 years ago when I started. And that $2,500, thankfully, somehow, worked out. I was running some ads and it was profitable. And I was playing around with my own money a little bit, right? I was spending $100, $80, really small money. But I found a profitable campaign. So I said to my mom, can I get $2,500? I think if I get the $2,500, I might be able to make like $5,000, and then I can pay your loan back. And she agreed, and that was kind of my first way to finance a campaign. So I don't want you guys to think that you're restricted to how much money you actually have. I mean, so Tyler and I we spend a lot on our campaigns just with cash that actually exist. But to this day, we still finance some campaigns. I mean, we have credit cards that have limits that are really high, and there's a lot of ways to finance a campaign. So why you would want to finance a campaign is if it's really successful and you just want to spend more money on it. Let's say you have a campaign that has like 100% return on investment, and let's say that you've been running it on a low scale. So let's say you've been spending like $200 a day and it earns $400 back. Well, in your mind, you're like, wow, if I could just spend, let's say, $1,000 a day on this campaign, I think I can earn $2,000 a day. But what if you don't actually have $1,000 a day to spend on your campaign? What do you actually do? And there's some different methods, like you can get credit cards is a good method, although that could be challenging if you're just starting and you don't have the credit limits and stuff. So that's a start. You can get loans. You can have family members finance campaigns. Again, we're not financial advisors, and we don't tell people what to do or give advice in this category. I'm just sharing what we did and what are different methods out there. But what you want to do is you want to get a successful campaign. It all starts with a successful campaign. If your campaign is not profitable and not successful, you don't even need to think about spending more on your campaign or getting funding for your campaign or this and that. Another option is Tyler and I are open to deals. If you guys have successful campaigns and they're really successful, maybe reach out to Tyler and I. We might want to run the campaign with you. We can possibly fund it or give you some kind of loan, maybe. So we can work out some things. So that's another option as well. Again, there's we have an application for this kind of thing, and we obviously don't let everyone into that kind of program because we wouldn't want people just kind of taking off with our money and this and that. It has to be trustworthy people. But if you have a good campaign and you just kind of need some extra funding for it, that's another option. Tyler and I can maybe partner with you on that campaign. Maybe we can put some of our cash behind it. And of course, we would take some kind of percentage of the cut, but as long as it was profitable for us and you, that's an option. So that would only be likely you would be able to do that with us, though, under a lot of circumstances. Again, we do due diligence with these kind of applications for this type of work in terms of running campaigns with us. First of all, we personally need to see the profit of your campaign be at least like 30 to 50%. We want it to be a little bit of a higher margin than even this 30% minimum. The campaign has to have some track record, like at least some months of doing that kind of successful return on investment. And there's some other criteria. We obviously, at the end of the day, need to be able to trust you, because if we're funding your campaign, we would need to make sure that you're not going to run off with your money. And ultimately, it would come down to an actual legal contract with a lawyer and whatnot. But Yeah, I hope this gives you some tips here on scaling your campaigns, because if you're in a position to scale, scale, right? But if you're wondering like when's the right time to scale, how do I increase my scale and profitability, you have to have that 30% net ROI. If you're doing Facebook ads, your audience really needs to be 1 million people or more, or you're going to run into some saturation scaling. Another thing is this though, it's getting consistent profit at that low volume, because like I said, if I was vetting a campaign to run or something, it needs to see that profit at least for like I want to see a campaign profit at least like a couple weeks consistently at the very minimum, even in like a month or two, consistent profit at some kind of lower volume. Month or two might be long depending on the campaign, but you definitely want to see consistency. So guys, I hope this helps give you some tips on scaling up here. If you just are hungry for more content and training, why don't you visit some of the other blog posts? So we have a lot of posts on our blogs. You could also opt into our bootcamp. So if you go to the blog and there's some banners like case study banners and bootcamp banners. We have all this free training. If you become an email subscriber, you can get some free training there. Just soak up what's on our blog. If you're interested in more advanced strategies, like you actually want to get some real meat and potatoes of training, there's some paid courses. So we have some courses that are priced like $400, $1,000. There's different courses that you can get depending on what kind of level of training you're looking for. So there's a lot of different options for you guys to just get the information that you need out there to succeed on your campaigns. But I just wanted to make this video to give you some general guidelines for scaling your campaigns and succeeding. So again, if you're hungry for just knowledge and just succeeding in this campaign, just keep watching our free content and definitely consider some of the paid courses if you think that's for you as well. So guys, I'll see you over probably another blog post, and we'll talk soon. So this is Peter Day, and guys, thank you, and we'll talk in a little bit. All right, bye.